up. So everybody should be knowing this, right? And this is how I teach. So this is you. Okay. So these are all your departments in your investing business. You have your office admin. All right. How do you set your office up? Right? How do you structure everything? How do you structure your companies? What's a land trust? Should I use them? Should I have different companies? How do I structure my business? Estate planning, right? Estate planning. And, and all this kind of stuff is within like the office admin part of your business. Okay. And then you have like, and you want to get to the point where you could be like, I need to plan my estate, right? That would be awesome, huh? If anybody knows what I'm talking about. Does anybody have an estate? So, all right. The second one is the next step, right? So first you set your business up, and then you start marketing. You got to do your marketing, right? So this is marketing. And what I teach is how to market for off-market properties, right? So all of my properties, except for the very first one, right, is all off-market property. So I teach people how to find off-market properties. You cannot go online. It's very, very difficult right now to find good properties, good deals. I mean, you can find like good deals online, maybe, right? But if you want to find like a badass like the deal that I just told you about, if you want to find that, that's an off-market deal, is what that is, okay? And then you have, marketing. So now you're getting your marketing out, people calling you, you're doing your thing, you're talking to sellers, you're talking to owners, right? And so now then it comes into the acquisitions department. Acquisitions is where you're putting the thing, you're running the deal analysis. You're learning how to run commercial deal analysis. All right. So you're putting the thing under contract. You're putting in offers. That's the acquisitions part. How do I run deal analysis? How do I know if it's a good deal or not? How do I put in offers? This kind of thing, right? So that's kind of where it's at. Acquisitions. All right. And then you get it under contract, right? So now you're like, crap, I need some money, right? So now you're like, okay, I need money. Finance department. And this is like, how do I fund this deal? And depending on what type of deal you have is how you're going to fund it. Right? Depending on what type of deal it is how you're going to fund it. There's not just one way to fund. There's a ridiculous amount of ways to fund a deal. All right. You got to learn all the different ways to fund it. And then you get into the management. So you bought it. All right. Now you found the money and now you're closing on it and now you got to manage it. Right? This is the hardest part. The managing part is the hardest part, right? Because you got to run this facility so that you make a profit. And I tell everybody all the time, like, you don't want to be the facility that I buy in the next couple of years, right? So you got to learn how to run it. And and the next thing is that you want to run it so that it's actually passive income. So we have, like I said, we're buying our 9th one right now. We're literally closing this week on our 9th one. And like, we're in the process of planning to travel all next year. All next year, we're traveling. We're hitting the road. And it's like, how can you have, and by the end of this year, we're going to have like another at least 5 to 10 more facilities because we're buying them. We're buying a lot of them right now. So the question is, how do you run 10, 15, 20 facilities at a time, yet not have to do anything at all in order to run them, right? Or you can be able to run them from anywhere in the world, right? So it's like, how do you make them completely passive, okay? And then I'm telling all my students right now, I'm going to prove to you that you can run 10 or 20 facilities completely virtually. How am I going to do that? I'm going to hit the road and I'm going to show y'all how to do that. That's what I told my students. All right. So, and then this one right here, this is construction, like rehabbing. If you like, this is like if you want it's like new construction department. Like if you're going to build it, then that would be this department, right? So you can see, like, usually you just have 6 departments, but I put this 7th department in here because if you're going to build it or something like that, then you would have to have a whole section, a construction section for that, right? A construction department. And then finally, now you've got it all built and managed, and now you want to liquidate it, right? That's this department. Okay, that's the last department. So now it's like, now we're in this position, like we're buying hold people, right? So like we're most likely we're going to end up keeping this thing. I don't know, but like, you know, I wanted to go through every single one of the scenarios, right? Because, you know, when somebody says you're going to make 550 grand on a facility, you're like, you know, your eyes get all big and your head like pops out, right? And you're like, yeah, 550,000, right? The truth of the matter is that if we sold that thing, we would not make 550,000, probably half of that, right? Based on all the taxes and stuff like this. So, you know, so that's the question here in the liquidations department. The question is, should you liquidate? And how do you decide which one of these you want to do, right? Should I do a cash out refi? Should I keep it and just do nothing with it? Should I just, just keep it for the cash flow, right? Should I own or finance it? Should I do a 1031 exchange on it, right? Or should I do a 1031 exchange and then refi it out, that money out, right? Should I sell it, sell the note? Or should I, do a construction exchange or some sort of like creative way of doing it? So it's like all these different ways that you can do. But the question is, okay, now you know about these. Now the question is, how do you figure out which one of these to do, right? And so that is what we did in the coaching today, is we literally went through each one of these scenarios based on my deal. He ran all the numbers because I gave him the numbers beforehand. So he created this like whole a spreadsheet. It was amazing. And we went through each scenario and talked about which ones we should do, which ones we should not do and stuff. And he gave his opinion, and now we're kind of like trying to figure out between like either owner financing it or keeping it, or maybe cash out refi, because you can make a lot of money with owner financing as well too. So, and like, we just kind of like, my husband and I need to sit down and really decide what we're going to do with this thing. Are we going to keep it? Or are we going to just we could owner finance it, so it was just such an amazing coaching session, right? Just love that, right? So that's the liquidations department, right? And then just so everybody knows, so the online course, the way it's set up, if you're interested in purchasing it, the way it's set up is that it's taking you through each of these modules. It's just that you're doing it on your own, right? It's not coaching. It's like an online course, right? So it takes you through each of these and like shows you kind of what to do with all of those, right? So that's that.